Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Podcasters Unleashed. This is the 10th episode in this season, so this is the last one. If you're with us, welcome. We are going to be talking about new tech and well-being, whether or not it's a help or a hindrance. So before we talk about that, we're going to let our co-hosts introduce themselves. Howla, over to you.
Hi everyone, so I'm the host of the podcast Women Stories, where I share real stories from women who rose above different challenges. And tune in for a new relaunch soon. Over to you, Matilda.
Hello, my podcast is Coffee with Matilda, a journey to self, and it's about finding yourself, loving yourself, and coming out of adversity stronger. And over to you, Simon.
Thanks, Matilda. Simon here. Taxi Chronicles is my podcast where I interview people and they share their life experience, journey or career, or what's just generally going on in their lives. It's short, it's 5 to 20 minutes. And I also have Africa Investor Stories podcast where people talk about what it's like to invest in Africa from around the world. So tune in, feel free to listen. Over to you, Victor.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. I like some of your episodes, anyways. African investing stories, and also your Taxi Chronicles. Some of your episodes are like on point. Anyways, I'm Victor Sio. I'm the host of the Diaspora Entrepreneurs podcast, and we have conversations with entrepreneurs, business owners who manage to strategically move from the core 9 to 5 towards the lifestyle of freedom. And over to you, Carla. You're muted, Carla.
I'm the host of the Wonder and Wellbeing podcast, which is a podcast all about education and well-being. So that's why we got this topic today. All right, guys. So let's get into it. What experience have you had with technology and how it impacts your well-being? Howla?
Well, mainly social media. I don't use kind of sophisticated technology, as you said, the watch or anything that could track my health. I didn't use that. I want to explore this kind of technology, of course. Yeah, for me, it's mainly social media and how to interact with people all around the world.
And what experience have you had or observations in general?
Observations, I think, after the pandemic, I became more reliant to technology, and also I feel like I'm more addicted to this kind of communication. However, I feel like it's a very bad thing. I think the communication between humans has changed, and I think it will drift from normal social interacting to virtual interacting more. And also for me, I feel like I stopped going too much to social gathering and rather experiencing more virtual interaction, Zoom calls, like we do right now, soon metaverse. So I feel like we are going to that direction. I think Matilda is agreeing with me.
Okay. All right. What are your thoughts on it, Matilda?
Well, it has positive points and negative points to it. I don't think before pandemic I was going to a doctor virtually. Today I'm sick, and if I'm wearing this, it's because I'm sick today, and I had to go to see a doctor online. She was in Hungary and I'm in Paris, so she gave me a prescription that I went next door and got it from the pharmacy next door. So I think technology is doing. I mean, I was lacking the technology today because it managed my life much easier. Imagine if you have to make an appointment to go see the doctor and walk there or to get a taxi there. So you're just doing it in your bed. So I liked it.
And do you think it's different in the sense of the impact that it has on your well-being, face to face or remotely?
I think if it's just a regular cold and like flu, it's easier to handle it this way. Obviously, if you have other complications, then it's better to see the doctor. But something simple, I think it makes it easier. Um, Otherwise, maybe I wouldn't take the time to go to see a doctor because I was very busy or I'm very sick. Yeah, so I like it, but not necessarily every element of technology I like. But today I enjoyed my technology.
Okay, good. Because you didn't have to leave the house. Simon, what do you think? You're muted.
I made a doctor's appointment yesterday. Not yesterday, a couple of days ago, and it was through technology of the phone, just a phone call, but it's all automated. And I found that quite useful. It was a bit difficult because they don't let you go in now. Since the pandemic, they don't let you go in. But I use that technology for my well-being. I don't have to go to the doctor often, but after you have a cough for about a year and your colleagues are telling you, hey, you've been to the doctor yet? You've been to the doctor? You end up going. I also use my smartwatch, good old Apple here, for walking around. It tells me when to stand up, when to move, many kind of interesting gadgets, but I also use it for swimming. So basically, as long as I'm moving, I use it, and it tells me a lot about my body in that respect. Back to you.
Okay, so has there been anything that any of your apps or your technology has told you about your health that has been like an alarm or a warning or something like that you've gone to the
Excuse me. It tells me if I'm exercising and I go over 160 beats per minute of my heart, it flashes like, slow down, slow down. But I'm like, no, this is the point you push through. Boom, 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 boom. So that's that kind of thing. So it's a warning that probably the average person may pay attention to. It also tells you when you're changing activity. So notice that you're cycling now instead of walking. I don't know how it does that. It's very interesting to how it does that, but it tells you, and you can activate that. There's quite a few things this Apple Watch does. I did have the Samsung Watch before, but excuse me, I changed it because it doesn't work with I'm with Vitality Health Insurance. The reason I got this watch is because it tells them when I exercise. So that allows my health insurance to either stay the same or go down or go up, depending how much I exercise. And you get other benefits with like free cinema tickets and all this other stuff, which I never use because I get other stuff with my mobile phone network. But still, it's all kind of combined in one. But what they do, they take the data from your phone and they can tell where you're at health-wise, and they can also cater packages specific to myself and to the many clients they have. So it's a very ingenious way. And they say the phone is free, the watch is free, as long as you do 4 sessions of exercise a week, and you have to get your heart rate over a certain BPM per half an hour. So it's an incentive, it's encouragement, it's data collection, which we know is worth more than gold nowadays. Back to you, Carla. Excuse me.
Wow, interesting. So you can actually get cheaper insurance. What do you think about that, Victor?
It is very, very interesting. Just hearing, because I have a smartwatch as well, but it's not nearly as good as what Simon is saying. Or maybe I've not activated all those features in it. Because I just use mine for the heart rate level, and I walk a lot, so I use that to count my steps, 10, 15,000 steps. So that is what I do with the watch. So swimming as well, but not time to stand up, time to sit down, time to move. No, I don't have that on my phone. But it's quite interesting how new technology or wearable technology is making life more interesting. And also when it comes to the data collection, which is the back end of it, it is kind of really weird, which ties up to Matilda's favorite topics um, of extending human life or extending human genes with all this kind of biohacking kind of stuff. So, but the interesting thing is that it's making life very, very easy, convenient, that we do not really ask questions. what all these data are being used for. So I think new tech, it's very interesting right now, and I'm enjoying using new tech. Like look at five of us here now, having conversations from all over the world, and this is being empowered by new tech, making friends that you wouldn't even dream because they're not in your immediate circle of influence. But new tech has allowed us to like stretch beyond borders, to like have great virtual handshakes, virtual hugs, knowing about how you feel. Just, these are all powered by new tech, which is, I say again, very, very interesting. And I'm so far so good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. I think, especially during the pandemic, I think anyone who had access to an online community during the pandemic would second what you said there, Victor, about the impact that would have had on their well-being for the positive. We've got some comments. I think, Matilda, I'll hand over to you for a minute.
Yes, we have George. Hello, George. Nice having you back with us. And we have Sasha. He's saying, my heart is perfect. I don't need a smart watch. I already have a smart wife. I'm old school. Yeah, good.
Very nice. So that's good for your well-being, I'm sure. It's nice to have you with us.
Yeah, your heart is perfect, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so let's get into the pros and cons. We did touch a little bit on it there, Victor. You brought out the positives about online communities and how much you benefited from that. What are the pros and cons do you guys see in the new technology and how they can impact well-being, whether it's mental health or any of the other things that you experienced or that you know through your work or connections with others? Simon, maybe you've got some Taxi Chronicle episodes that you could share.
Well, you've got the weaker people in life who don't know how to put down their smartphones and blame their smartphones on all their failures in life of lack of self-control. I wouldn't blame technology for that. I would blame them. And with children, obviously, you don't blame children, you blame their guardians. I say guardians because obviously come from children's home. You do have guardians instead of parents if they fail. That would be my flaws. The good things are, as we spoke about already, you can track your children. You can see who your children are calling. You can see how long your wife's been on the mobile phone and to who, if you're that kind of husband. You can see who's like the women were cloning their husband's WhatsApp messages. And seeing what that was going on. You can hold your phone in front of your partner's face and open their phone with the new facial recognition. I don't know whether you see that as a pro or a con, but it's something out there that I see that many people smiling now.
Well, let's stop there a minute and ask everybody, do you guys see that as a pro? Because I just think that would add to my stress level. If I had to track someone, I don't think that would do anything good for my well-being. What do you guys think?
The topic is, if you're not sure about something, you could find out. I'm not saying I'm for, and then you can decide, I need to leave this person. Or you're going to have I'm not married, so I'll let Victor go with what he's going to say.
The first instant the first instant you're not sure, you just need to have the conversation. That's it. Boom. Because if you start tracking, there's so many things that you will see that you won't believe it. So you start reading meanings into just, if the fly just, if you hear the sound of a fly buzz through, you want to know why. Who made that sound? So you start, so the first thing is, don't even go into that rabbit hole. Just have that conversation, pump, and let it go. Whether you believe it or not, just let it go.
What do you think, Matilda? Would you be able to do that?
I'm very happy that I'm not a child in this era. So my parents could have tracked me where I'm going, what I'm doing, because I've done some things that I wouldn't like my parents to know at that time, which I thought that time is like very secretive things to do. And I'm sure they would have gotten mad at me if they knew. um, I think it was good that the children had the opportunity to be a child and to do wrong things, to do good things, to not have this police over them constantly to know what's happening with their children's life, and have the child to make a decision what's good for them in certain moments. I think it's a nice element because it teaches that child that you are being trusted, and we think you're old enough to make certain decisions for your life. I like that. I like that approach. If it comes to romantic partner, checking romantic partner, I think if you want to check, you will always find something. I'm sure all of us have a social media. We message, not necessarily we mean it, but maybe we send a kiss here, or to be polite, we send a smile, and might be not necessarily agreeable for our partner, and they might not know exactly why we've sent that smile or that kiss. I would say you shouldn't go to that. If there is an urge in you to check someone's activity, then I think you need to go see a therapist, because there's something in you that you feel um, not right. It's not about them, it's your um, maybe self esteem. And sometimes when you know someone is doing wrong, you just don't need to confront them, you just need to go, you need to leave. Um, Not necessary to know exactly what this conversation, doesn't matter what exactly the conversation was. The
I
person is
don't,
in someone else. That's it.
I don't think that is very, very, um, I don't think that's the right way anyways. So that's, you just have to go, you know, everything is work. There needs to be some level of sacrifice to it. So I don't think, no,
Just to jump, just to
we all
jump
mess up sometimes, you know.
to the audience, we're talking about 28 years experience in marriage to 1 year. So this is going to be an interesting
I don't have
conversation.
experience. I don't have experience in marriage, and I don't know what it feels like to be with someone for 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years. I'm just thinking that if it's in that point that I feel like there is something wrong and I have to check Sasha, for example, I need to go see a therapist for myself. Then there's something wrong with me that I want to check in him. And if I'm very sure that he's cheating, then maybe, I don't know. The
And you know,
choice was,
guys, there
I
is
don't know.
a study about the divorce rates, and it has gone up with modern technology.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Yeah.
when Matilda was talking, I was thinking about people that I know that I've directly observed their social media behaviors having a very negative impact on their level of mistrust of others
Mm,
and their level of abuse of boundaries as well of others. So, for example, if you met a person for the first time, let's say I was walking down the street and I met someone and they approached me and we got talking and we went on a date, it would not be acceptable for that person to then find out where I lived, where I worked, where I socialized, and physically stalk me, like follow me around and hide around the corner and watch what I was doing. But is acceptable on the internet or possible on the internet for someone then to go and look me up, follow me with a fake account, follow and get, and this has happened to me personally, get into all of my networks and try to speak to me under fake, a fake guise. That would be like a guy doing that, putting a mask on and following me around and pretending to be someone else and asking me questions. But on social media, that person could get away with that. But then, I mean, that can happen with strangers, which isn't good for our well-being. I know it affected me a lot when I had a stalker, because I just basically all my activities online, I felt really paranoid to do them because I never knew when someone was going to show up. and start stalking me and messing about in my networks online. And although it was online, I found it just as scary as I would have done if it was face to face. And in fact, it was worse online because it took months for me to realize that it was someone that I knew that had been doing it. Whereas face to face, I would probably be able to recognize or notice that that person was following me. And it wouldn't be as easy for them to make a fake persona face to face. So that had quite an impact on me and my confidence online and activities. But I was thinking about, and maybe you guys have also had this experience, about people whose relationships are seriously affected when they do things like stalk new partners, and what that does, the toxicity that it sets off at the beginning of the relationship, and also the lack of boundaries. So, for example, if your partner, you go out now, they don't necessarily need to know exactly where you are and who you're talking to and who's liking you and who's commenting to you physically, but online it's like, oh, this person liked your picture, or you liked this person's picture, why did you like this person's picture? All of that I've seen become really toxic in some relationships around me. Have you guys had similar experiences? Or Simon, have you had any episodes on your
What's interesting, sorry, thanks Carla, what's interesting there is that I was in the gym, in the sauna. There's a young girl, probably late teens, early 20s, and there was a young guy, about maybe the same age, bit older. And she was virtually interviewing him about who he is, what he does, how he earns money, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm here, all right, I'll answer the questions, but we're in the sauna and he's just trying to relax, you shut your eyes. But anyway, I was just observing, like fly on the wall, as you do. And then when we're in the changing room as men, I say, that girl was really hungry, wasn't she? And he goes, yeah, I didn't really know. Blah, blah. And then other people just got involved. And it's like a group of 5 to 10 guys. No one knew each other, just started to talk about this woman. So obviously she's given a bad impression for herself. But anyway, point being, one of them said, you know what the girls do nowadays? They ask you all these questions and they try and get your name and then they check you out on social media. And then they say, this guy likes me, or he wants to date me, or is he married? Is he anybody's baby father? That kind of thing. And, then they just go from there. And I was thinking, what you said, Carla, is like, that's just stalking. But for women to men, now, a lot of women, grown women I know, who turn around and say, yeah, you got to do that. You got to find out what he's about, and it saves time and trouble. And I thought, well, why don't you just ask him? No, you can't do all that. You gotta, and they see it as totally acceptable. But if on the flip side, like you said, there's a man who's following you down the street, trying to find out where you work and all these other things, totally unacceptable. So it's one of the cliche things of double standards, I would say. But the good thing is that if you meet someone, just say you're called Bob.
I know, Matilda, you're really passionate about face-to-face interaction and friendship and socializing and stuff like that. What do you think about all this?
About dating online?
Yeah, and I mean, just the way that the social media and people's behavior on social media can affect their relationships later, but also their own relationship with themselves.
I think it's very damaging because you lose that sense of human interaction, the need for human interaction. As Carla was saying before, right now some of her meetings with people, with peers, are online, and she's kind of enjoying it. Well, you don't need to get dressed, put your hair, and do your makeup on, so it's kind of nice sometimes. So I feel it's bad because it keeps people from um, looking for their best. They gain weight more. That happened to me. You don't feel like going out that much. And then when you are interacting online, it's not necessarily genuine. It's not necessarily when you even like someone's even opinion. Sometimes that doesn't mean maybe if you see them face to face, you will have a different opinion about it. I like human interaction. So for me, it's wrong in every way possible. I don't even like online dating. I know it can be a necessity sometimes because how the world is functioning, but I rather to meet someone, feel their energy, see their smile, and I can feel if this person is right for me or not from that interaction.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's what you experience, Carla, is really, really. I can use the word toxic, but um, you know, the new technology has given so many screens, so many layers, so that you can have access, but there's this blockage. So you can just do what's it called? Is it catfishing also? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm from the old school. Anyway, so it is face to face. If you're scared of like chatting a girl up, or if you're scared of chatting a lady up, you get your wingman to like prop you, go, 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 you can do it, go, go, you can do it. But using new tech, you just hide behind the keyboard and you just, you're just like, it's easy to be. I think it's just cowards that do that, anyways. Because
Mm.
if you really want to like say hello to someone, just go say hello. I know it's not as easy as I'm saying it, but you if you need help with that, just speak to one of your guys and say, you know what, man, I really like this, but I really like this lady. I need to speak to her. Then you get that boost that gives. That's why wingmen are for there, Batman and Robin. That is what they are for. To give you that pep talk. Go, go, you can get her. Just don't act funny. Just go and say something. So I think that is one of the negatives of new media, new tech, new social media, however you want to call it. You have access to who you like, and there's so many options as well.
Mm.
Okay,
Are
so
there though? Are there options, or is it illusion of options? Howler,
it
tell
is
us.
an illusion. It is an illusion. It is an
Okay.
illusion because you see so huge. They're all shapes, size, colors, everything.
Howler, do you think it's options, or is it more of an illusion? And how does it affect people's well-being?
You're talking about the online dating?
Yeah.
I think it's very hard online dating now because you have access to a lot of people, and sometimes you can have access to fake accounts. But I always do prefer to go on a video call so I can see the person. Sometimes you can be surprised because the pictures has nothing to do with the reality. So you say, "Okay, I'll call you back."
Well, you should be honest, like Matilda says.
So yeah, I don't like wasting my time a lot in the online dating, and I always prefer, even if I can't see the person, always prefer video call. So I can see that because you can alter the pictures, you can change everything with new technology, and also for guys when they meet women without filters and without anything, they are surprised. So I think there are a lot of risks into like Simon is not.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love this comment
I
from
was at
Sasha.
the beach the other day, about 2 weeks ago, and I'm on the beach, and I see these women come, young girls, early 20s, whatever. And I'm looking, and I'm thinking, they look a bit deformed. And they had the fake arse cheeks. One arse cheek was, I think they call it BBL, Brazilian butt lift, yeah. One arse cheek was bigger than the other. They had a thong on. One of them had a thong. One of them had a sarong thing, so she just had normal and wasn't very impressive. But their face, they'd done this to try and get big lips, and they Botox or something. They just looked deformed. And my friend was saying to me that, hey, you know those girls online, they're doing all these selfie things, walking into the water and all this stuff. And I was kind of concerned for them. I was like, do they really know what they look like? And my friend was saying to me, who's a female, that when you go on their dating app or online, they look perfection because they have so many filters. But that happens when they go on a date, the guy sees them and goes, Jesus, save me! It's like, whoa, what's happening? Because they look like I was in Brazil one time and you got the transvestite men who try plastic surgery and they try to look like women, they look like they're coming close to that. But they were actually women in the start. So that's a con. And the Botex is technology.
Okay, can we have the comments, please, Matilda? We've got some interesting comments. And then we'll hear what Howler has to say.
Yes. Sasha is saying human interaction are based on the alchemy. There's something magic. Technology is so cold and technique. Where is the poetry in the new relations? I like that. I like the
I
poetry.
do. I was thinking about a program I was watching, actually. It's on Netflix. It's a new series. I can't remember the title, but it's all about technology and it looks at different things, different elements. So there was like technology and something to do with dogs. And then there was another one, technology and dating. And they were talking about what you guys mentioned, which was about the data collection and how the apps will become more and more sophisticated to collect the data to try and match you to the perfect partner. But they were, weighing it up pros and cons wise. And this point came out that the technology cannot pick up the nuances of a human interaction, and even the smart tech, it cannot really pick up the truth about the chemicals and the what Sasha calls there the alchemy, or the magic, I would say the chemistry between humans. And it was talking about the data that it's collecting really would be based on your mind. So when you're swiping to say that you like or dislike, that may not actually be true. It's only that you like or dislike the appearance. But actually, usually when you actually find out people who truly love one another and have really connected relationships, quite often when you ask them, is this the type of person that you would have picked physically? Usually they always say no. Either the person's is not tall enough, or is too tall, or is too thin, or there is always a physical difference between the person that they love and the one that they would like. And so these apps are designed just to pick up psychologically who you are swiping left and right, or whatever it is on these apps. So I think that comment from Sasha kind of backs that up. It's quite interesting. And if you've ever been in love and had a good relationship, you probably will back that up as well, that it doesn't necessarily mean who you would think in your head is going to match you, as Sasha says there, on paper. Go ahead.
Continuing, he's saying, on paper, you can meet the perfect partner, but without that magic feeling, there is nothing.
Yeah.
And then we have George saying, I'm here, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram. I'm always going back to the same people. Well, you're always coming back to us, George.
He's a true fan. You're a true fan, George. We appreciate you. Okay. All right. Howler, what are you excited about in terms of advancement in new technology and well-being? Is there anything that's caught your eye that you're excited about?
One thing that is related to health, it's about predictive diagnosis. And I think it's very important to predict patients' risks to a disease. I think it's a very expensive treatment to have. I think it's only for rich people, but you can really see the diseases that you could have in the future while you age and how you prevent that from happening. So this is one of the new technology that we are going to see. Other than that, I think it's blockchain, augmented reality, nano robots too. I think we see like the vacuum robots on Amazon. So yeah, I think that these kind of tools that could make our life easier.
Yeah. Victor, do you want
Yeah,
a nano robot or a Hoover that
yeah,
will do the housework for you?
yeah. I think the Internet of Things is making life more easier. The doors, automated doors right now. The lighting saves power. You walk into a room, when you leave the room, the light goes off when it doesn't detect human presence. And so like the door handle. There's so many little things, everyday things that has been digitized right now and is being held by new tech. So in a way, to me, You know what? Just one thing, because while we're talking about dating app just now, I just went on the stats and I found out that on Tinder about 30% actually get married after using the dating app. So yeah, some good is going on there. You know, it's not all that it's not all that bad. Yeah, because that was something that was just stuck in my head when you were like saying it. Yes, Simon.
In London a couple of years ago, it was declared on the radio, one of those statistics they throw out, that originally the most common place to meet your partner was at work. Somebody you have something in common with, someone you see every day. Now the most common place to meet your partner is on a dating app and get married. So depending on what kind of dating app you use, there is still hope. But it makes sense, I would say, in the technology, because some dating apps are very specific. If you don't like dogs, deal breakers, are you adventurous, what kind of music you like, all these technologies, all this data that you're giving them, they utilize and pair people with you down to race, gender, and all these other things. So it makes sense that with that amount of information going left to right and up and down and around, that people should be getting paired up and end up being married. Back to you, Carla.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything there, Matilda? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I've done online dating and I didn't like it. It was a lot of mess. You're constantly getting ready to go for something that it wasn't fruitful. Um, I don't know, but there is a positive point in that was we're meeting people that maybe in your normal settings you wouldn't have the opportunity to meet. So if you looked at online dating or online social events kind of gathering or doing, it can be an opportunity. I think it's the mindset or your attitude towards it. um, because yeah, these online apps can give you opportunity because you can meet someone from another country or another culture or another religion, and you can match. Who said that you only match in your city or in your work environment? It's a bigger circle that you can look into for your partner, but also comes with the headaches too. So you have to get ready for the headaches and look at it as a fun element. Otherwise, you're going to be burned down. I have friends that they're burned down from this dating app, and I always say, "Oh, look at it as fun. You went and you met another human being with a different upbringing, with a different social setting, and how exciting is that?" So it
Yeah.
depends.
Howla, would you do a metaverse date? Like,
I don't know how it's going to turn out because, I mean, actually, I don't know, like avatar to avatar dating, how you're going to see the person. It just
that's why I'm
something really
asking.
artificial. But I want to get back to the online dating because there was a guy who was talking about Tinder algorithm, and they said that this algorithm was based on the preferences, but also it made some men to have more polyamorous relationship, more relationship with a lot of women at the same time because they have access to a lot of options. And also for men who are less good looking, they don't get a lot of swiping right than men who are really good looking. So we can see that the unfairness in the field of online dating, and you can see, for example, a lot of women, they are seeking a man with a good shape and tall and highly successful, and these profile, they are not a lot in the dating app. So you see those men, they have a lot of attention from these women, and the men who are less looking and maybe they have good personality, they don't get those likes. So I think there's a lot of problems with online dating.
I
think
think
it's
that's
just
where
like
when Victor said earlier about, I call it the old school way, where you would be somewhere and a guy would approach you And maybe if that guy or that woman, because some women do the approaching as well, maybe they wouldn't be someone that you would have picked, but the conversation and what Sasha said, the chemistry between you is just like, wow. So then you know that I can give this person a chance, and they've already convinced me beyond step one, as in this is not my type of person at all. If they just stayed on the other side of the room, I'd have let them stay on the other side of the room, but because they've come over, that's kind of like a tick. And then they've made me laugh, that's another tick. And then there's something going on in the air, that's another tick. I think it's underestimated, definitely underestimated. And I think
that is life. That is life.
Yeah.
So that is life.
Yeah.
You can't get one of the drawbacks. You can't get that connection with your eyes. You can't get it through dating apps. Across the room. Whoa, okay, it's locked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're going for the kill.
90% of communication is body language.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you flex, flutter your eyelid, twist your head, play with your hair, rub your stomach, whatever, it's all sending signals. If you know what you're reading, you can go far. Also, something that Howler said is about people who get left out on dating apps. Remember, some people don't use their common sense. I was speaking to someone the other day, and there's a dating. Hear me out. And there's a dating app called Bumble, and what it is with Bumble, you can match somebody. So let's say Howler swipes and matches.
How many, Simon? How many are you on right now?
No, I'm not in any. But obviously, life experience. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Just because you got married 28 years. But anyway, so let's say Howler matches Victor. Now, Victor can't talk to Howler, even though they've matched, until Howler talks first. Now, the point of this was Howler will just go, let's say, hi. And my attitude was, if the game has changed, that you've been empowered as a woman, you've got to come with some interesting, gripping statement, not just hi. And my friend was saying, what do you mean? And I said, well, all right, go on your app. He's on that app. I said, look at that woman. Oh, not that one, she's ugly. But so we found the next one. I said, okay, what would you say to her? And he goes, I said, read her profile. And then she said something about she's adventurous and she does things spontaneous. So I said, well, just tell her, what's the most spontaneous thing you've done in the last month? Bam. And he said, nah, his attitude was, no, that's too long. But my thing is, no, because you're gripping her intellect. You're actually challenging her what she's saying, if you see what I'm saying. And a lot of guys out there don't do that. They don't put anything on their profile that entice a woman. They don't. I hear a lot of guys are standing there with a tiger on their shirt off. For some reason, there's shirt off, tiger, and a car. But if you're going to go on there, you could put on what you do. So if you're a diver, you should picture of you diving. If you're a cycler, picture of cycling. Adventurous. The women goes. Tinder Swindler is a great example. How do you think he's a little man? He's handsome, but he's a little man.
Tinder Swindler, that's just what I wanted to know.
What did he do? He's in Bentleys. He's in Dubai. He's shopping. He's in restaurants. He's you know what I mean? He's with his bodyguard. He's all these things. And women go, oh, he's matched me. Oh, let me oh, no. You see? Oh, and this time he's broke. Well, back to you, guys.
And I think that technology did not go well with his well-being. He went to jail.
No, he's got a Russian girl, yeah, and he's still got a multi-million-pound business. To me,
but I think that goes back to what Howler was talking about the image, because it is really all about the image and the illusion, and people would rather sign up to an illusion that is pretty than a truth that is less attractive, maybe.
Who is that? Who can you blame? Simon just said it, don't hate the player, hate the game. That is how the game is.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. So,
Go out there.
We are the problem is the society, not this 10 years and 20 years of technology. You have to go back maybe 50, 60 years old, 60 years back after the hippie time, when you don't learn poetry in the schools. And I'm saying literature in a very strong way, especially poetry, because there is a beauty in understanding the words, reading Shakespeare, reading Rumi, reading Hafez, that brings back to the essence of life. And we have a society of TVs and magazines, and we thought beauty is that's the standard of beauty, whereas before that, 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. There's a beauty in using your words and understanding certain emotions and connection and the magic that happens. And I don't think it's technology that taking away. It's people, it's governments, school system that doesn't teach you literature, art, and put a lot of emphasis on that. I think maybe with this new technology, with AI, as we going forward, um, uh, as Jack Ma is constantly saying, you should teach your children emotional intelligence and art, something that technology can never do, because that's the only way that can save our society. You can never beat the technology in any way. Right now, it's all about Kim Kardashian. I'm keep using this because everybody knows this woman. um, the body of Kim Kardashian. We're teaching 14, 15-year-old girls how to be like Kim Kardashian. What happened to Camelia, Johnny Depp's lawyer? We need to have women like that as a role model. But society doesn't like that. Society likes the naked shirts, as Simon is saying, and naked woman because sex sells, because we don't have that poetry inside. If you have that poetry, you won't be attracted to these kind of things. But we are lacking that, and that's why society is going back and back, and we're becoming um, animals. We are not using our magic anymore, as Sasha is saying. That's my opinion.
Do you think that's who we are? Technology is just helping us to get there faster because this is who we are.
Um,
We can claim we don't judge, we can claim we don't, but we actually do. You know, the eyes is there for a reason. We see and we get attracted to what we see. So that is who we are.
like let's look at like 1940s, 30s in Paris was a fascinating time because it was a lot of art there and people had a lot of appreciation for art. Right now things are different. It's all about NFT, and it's not about your senses. It's about, I don't know what is there. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very deep topic, but that sense is going away. I don't know with what. I don't know if it's technology. I don't think so. But something is going away, and we are taking away the human um, footprints. And human footprints, what the was the literature, was the painting. And I don't know.
yeah, I agree with that. I don't know if Paola does as well. I'm a painter. And sometimes when people say, "What do you paint?" I'm like, I don't really know. It isn't anything. It's just a thing. It's just some colors. And sometimes it might resemble something, but then a lot of the time it doesn't resemble anything, but it's a mood. It's a snapshot into my psychology during a certain period of time. It's just a feeling, it's an expression, but I couldn't put words to it. And it really annoys me, for example, when I read an article that it might say AI is going to create amazing art in the future. And I'm just like, how is it going to do that? Yeah, it could probably mimic human movement of a brush, for example. And I'm sure it could create, it's like when you see people learn how to create a certain picture by pattern. It doesn't, but it isn't as beautiful. It doesn't have a feeling. It isn't an emotional painting like some of the old masters would have painted. And the same with poetry that you're mentioning. It's a feeling, it's a mood, it's the internal workings of the mind, the heart, the soul. and all of that kind of stuff. Paula, what do you think? Do you think that art created by AI would ever have the same feeling to it? You're muted.
Yes, I think everything is created around technology is to bring more profit uh, to people who are creating, and AI is just trying to help the artist or coders to bring more profits to them. I think back in the days when someone is painting something, for example, Picasso, he was learning all his years to paint something, and he was selling his painting with a lot of, I mean, it was very expensive. And there was a woman, she said to him, why you are selling this, it's very expensive, and you just paint it for 5 minutes. And he said to her, it took me 20 years to do this in a very easy way. So I think AI can't replace the passion and can't replace the hard work of what humans do with their hands. Um, I just think that nowadays the values, I think, has changed, and now I think everything around technology related to art is just for money and not to appreciate the artist or the person who is painting that thing.
Yeah. Okay, it's
Matilda, I think Matilda, then Victor.
One thing that you mentioned, Carla, like for example, Mona Lisa, Leonardo da Vinci did it for the whole his life, painted it one painting, and it's like one of the awe's of the world. There's a lot of message, and I mean, I don't know much about it. Sasha knows it, and he made me be fascinated about this painting. And it's like, how can you take that? A person put a lot of time, dedication, dreams, failure, whole life on a piece. And then I'm sure AI can copy this very easily. But does it have any, is there any life in it? Does there, the meaning is gone? So I don't know.
Victor, what were you going to say?
yeah, it's regards technology. What Hyla says that technology was created because of more because of gains, money. So I won't. That's a very broad statement. So I would say it should just be, because technology has really helped us a lot. So yeah, there's some profits needs to be made. Yes, I know. Servers are not going to be. You can't tell servers thank you and they keep running. You can't tell so many things. Even Facebook was what's it called, freemium model. They were making profit for a very long time, but investors were still investing in server farms all over the world just to keep it going. And if you see, they deserve the reward that they get at the end of the day, because if you help 1 billion people, come on, you deserve some reward. The person who created Zoom deserves to be rewarded. Who created StreamYard deserves to be rewarded, because you're bringing people together who necessarily will be together in the same room. So I believe they deserve to be rewarded.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Victor. And I think maybe that's where it comes down. I know Simon kind of mentioned this earlier, where his word was weak people and how they use, but I think there's a certain level of personal responsibility. So the technology is a tool, but there is still a need for you to be responsible about how you use it, to be conscious
Yeah,
of how you use it, and to be ethical and have your values at the root of what you do. And then that helps to avoid the problems. What
just
concern?
like just like just like money and gun.
Yeah, definitely. This is for you guys, but also for our audience. For those of you, just tell us, what concerns do you have with the advancement of new technology, if any? You may not have any. Simon might say he doesn't have any, but then again, he might have with regards to children. So yeah, what concerns do you have with technology and well-being, either your own or just in general, Matilda?
You know, yesterday I was talking with a man. He's 82, and he was saying his grandfather was a very healthy man, and he would go from one city to another city walking. And for him, when he was a young man, he would always ask him like, "But why do you walk?" He was like, "Because I never use car. I don't use car. I'm from since young age. I go from a city to another city for hours. I walk. For me, that's the normal." And imagine when I'm hearing this, and I'm like, "Yeah, why would a human being does that?" You know, a couple of generation later, for me having a car going from here 10 minutes after what I want, it's a very normal element. So you see like how technology is changing, and we cannot even remember 3 4 generation before us how they were living. If someone tells me they don't have hot water, for me it's like I can never live somewhere that there's no hot water. I'm sure there is, but I don't like to be that kind of a condition because I'm not used to it. Or I mean, some other things that technology brings you lots of benefits, and you get used to it when you do it for a long time. So I think there's a dangers there that a couple of generation. I mean, we're gonna die, but couple of generation after that, after us, meeting human face to face, having this romance and magic won't be something like a weird thing to say. The same way that when I was hearing about this man walking from a city to another, I mean, like, yeah, how is this possible? Sit in a bus, for God's sake.
Uh,
Any other concerns, anyone?
no, what Matilda said is to me is the pace. The pace is what actually is my concern. Not the future is bright, I know, but the pace at which technology is going, it is, and it's not just on one sector. It's going on across all sectors. So, and it's like you wake up tomorrow, algorithm has changed. You go even construction as well. It's changing there. You know, technology just and it is. It depends if it's sustainable. Yes, that is a plus. If reusable, yes, that is a plus as well. Yeah, but the pace to me is what is really alarming me.
I would say the technology for the children is a concern. When I was a child, if my friends wanted to meet them after school or we'd have to go home for dinner or whatever, and I'd meet them, if I wasn't on time, I'd be running around the area. I'd go to Sam's house. Is Sam home? No, his mum's he's gone out with Bob. Now I've got to run to Bob's house. Is Bob there? No, they've gone out with Jake. And I'm running and running and running. I used to be super fit. And you learn to keep time. And then when we play out. We've got adventuring in the forest or around the area or whatever. And we'd play football. We'd meet other rival kids. There's always activities going on. Now all the kids, what are they doing? They're on their phone, PlayStation, PSP, sitting down. Are you okay, Billy? Yes, Mum, I want another sandwich. I'm playing Call of Duty. Yeah. And there's no exercise. There's no interaction with other children apart from, they're shouting at some other kid in China or whatever. I will destroy you. That's the interaction. And then, it's ridiculous because they're getting unhealthy. They're getting unfit. They don't really know about real communication and body language, sizing people up, having to know how to navigate the bullies of the world and all these things. And when they do meet bullies, they're, oh, I'm terrified. I need to kill myself now. It's just that is my problem when it comes to technology. And that's why I love council estates and poor areas, because if you're poor, you don't necessarily have the latest TV. Always have TV because you can't afford electricity bills. And your kids go outside and they want to eat. They're going to find ways to fend for themselves and those kind of things. And they grow up very fast in any poor areas, whether you're hillbillies or you're ghetto people. They grow up faster than those middle class children around the world. But anyway, back to you, Carl.
We've got some great comments from Sasha. Can we read those?
He's saying technology for me is not healthy physically and intellectually. He's also saying we are losing the best human part, the craziness, the charm of interaction, creativity, and relations.
Yeah, just reading that it reminds me of just, I feel sad for future generations who don't know what it feels like to sit and read a book for hours, like the whole day, just sit somewhere and just read a book. That's something that I remember from my childhood, and I feel quite privileged to have been born right in the middle of the time where we knew what it was like to entertain ourselves, to play out. The term play out, can I play out? We didn't actually have a plan. There was no game or anything like that. Play out just meant, can I go out the house into the street and play with other children? And we made it up as it went along. And we learned many life lessons, but also entertaining yourself for hours without even a TV. It's not that we didn't have a TV, but it just wasn't normal to put it on all the time. It was more of a family structured thing in the evening, but during the day, it wasn't really a thing to do. But then I'm also of the generation that I remember computers and I remember the internet and the mobile phone becoming a part of our life. But luckily for us, it was when we were in our late teens, early 20s. Unless you were, as Simon said, from a wealthy family where it might have been earlier. I feel quite privileged, and I do feel sad for kids that don't know that feeling of playing out or know that feeling of getting lost in a book, in the characters in a book. Matilda touched on this earlier about empathy and just having this backlog of character stories in your head from childhood that you can draw on. If you're of the generation where you read Charles Dickens stories at school like we did growing up in Britain, you've got this whole host of characters that you've learned multiple lessons from, or if you're from the Aesop's fables or whatever it is in your generation. Anansi stories we used to read when we were kids, if you were from a Jamaican background and stuff like that. So they teach you, I bet you've got those. Victor, have you got like traditional stories that you read as a kid that taught you like moral lessons and things?
Yeah, we do. And it's mostly not in books, but granddads, grandmom, uncles and aunties, when they come around, they start telling stories. I love stories.
Yeah.
When they tell me about stories, my head goes like, okay, wonders. So maybe that's why I started like reading, fantasy novels, fantasy books, and watching sci-fi movies and some kind of adventurous stuff. Yeah, we have that mostly when we go to visit grandma in the village. Not now that everything is kind of urbanized, where everyone is on their, you know what. And we sit around after having maybe dinner at about 7 o'clock, and the sun is about to like go down. We sit around and it starts telling us stories of grandma, grandpa's ancestries like that and how they conquered this. And when they want to bring morals into it, they bring the tortoise out. The tortoise is a very wise, animal and kind of try to always make some fast moves, which backfires at the end. So that's what they use to like give us some moral compass on how to like share. The tortoise as well is very greedy. That's how they kind of shape our moral compass when we're kids. So I think that's really stuck, but not anymore.
Okay, all right, interesting. So yeah, so if you have got kids, read them those stories. Even if you read them on an iPad, we'll let you off. We'll let you off as long as you discuss them with your kids and sit with them and connect with them and do it in the human way that we've always done stories, and even oral stories. Some cultures are very much about oral traditions and stories that are passed on from generation, which are really special. All right, so we're getting towards the end of this episode. I think we could go on, but we will start wrapping it up. How do you think the way we approach individual well-being or even collective well-being will change in the future? Or final thoughts on the topic, either of those, for the audience and for you guys?
Should I?
It depends
Yeah,
on
you
what.
see,
Go on, Victor. Go on.
So, I mean, there's some apps that helps your well-being. So, there's one called Calms, all those apps that you just maybe um, put on the background, you know, and it plays some certain type of mood songs for you. I don't know, is that what you're asking?
Anything basically, yeah. What do you see as, you know, the positives, the future, just even your final thoughts? Anything really, just to wrap it up, Victor.
Oh, yeah, there's some apps that are really, really good that is actually helping, and like I said last week, new tech has given us more access to almost every part of the world, basically for people from Africa who find it very, very expensive or with due to financial constraints, they can't actually reach. But technology has opened the window for them to, like, not the window, has opened the door for them to reach out to different industries. So I think it is good for the well-being, because when there is rewards, your well-being is high.
Yeah. Anyone else?
What about you,
Simon?
Simon?
I think I told you last week, but I met this lady. I interviewed this lady who does virtual reality, and she met her partner on an adult virtual reality, basically where you can wear the gloves and the toggles or the suit, and obviously you need a goggle, and your avatar can have sex, what have you, with other avatars, and then you can feel what's going on. Now, this lady was also a dominatrix. And what she says, through avatars and through actually physically going to meet people, she helps them get through their fetishes and be able to express themselves. So for those people, I would say that's a positive. For other people, they just say they're perverts in that response. But that's an example of how technology on the adult side of things is helping people going forward. I don't know if younger people are going to be getting into this kind of thing and that, but that's just an example. But personally, I think anything that's new, you're fumbling in the dark for a period of time, because what young people do today, old people do tomorrow. Old people usually make the rules and the laws, as in parents and all those kind of things, as well as politicians, and they need to see what's going on. And a bit like crypto, for instance, crypto is something that's been going on 10, 15 years, what have you. But it's only the older generation, the politicians and people got to grips on it to a certain extent, and they said, okay, let's put a tax on it. Yeah, and they're really behind. It's like at least 10 years behind. 10 years of people just making money, doing this, doing that, and they don't really understand it even to this point. But they just said, okay, we don't understand it, but we're going to put a tax. And those are pros and cons. The pros were, if you got in early, you can make money. Now you can still do your day trading and stuff like that. But it depends on you as a person. I get bankers in the car that say, I don't agree with crypto. People lost lots of money. I said, isn't it the same in your business with the stock exchange? Well, it's different. It's regulated. No, it's not different. It means you lot get the inside story and don't tell anybody else. Everybody else loses out and you lot walk home with all the wrong money. That's the difference. How long is it to my next stop? But anyway, I'm babbling. Back to you, Carla.
Yeah, has anyone else got any thoughts, Matilda?
I'm excited about gene editing and like Jennifer Dunda, what she has done, the scientist, about CRISPR technology. I feel like we can reduce, with this technology, we can reduce a lot of people's suffering in certain diseases like Alzheimer's, something that I'm going through with my grandma right now, uh, Parkinson's, cancer, MS. So it's very interesting. I'm just hoping that people will read poetry and be in touch with art a lot so they can understand life and make the right decisions in a way. I feel like if criminals were more exposed to art and poetry and human emotions and empathy, they might be less criminals, cyber criminals, or there's a lot of different criminals. Some politicians are criminals as well. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm excited about the technology and using people using it in the right way. Maybe these machines and technology can help us for humans to live together more peacefully. I don't know how that can happen, but there is a possibility.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Howler?
I do think that new technology could lift up the productivity and the economic growth of an advanced country. And also, we're going to see new jobs, and a lot of jobs are going to disappear. Um, I don't think that technology will make us happier. Actually, there was a study that was done about happiness and technology, and it does not make us more happy or less happy to have more technology in our lives. It just gets stuff done. And I think nothing could replace the normal human interaction between each other, and nothing. I mean, even with Zoom calls or phones or virtual stuff, it just keep the pain less. But I think a lot of people are in need of that human connection.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right. So, guys, before we go, can we have the final comments, Matilda, and then tell us about your podcasts?
Yes, we have Muhammad Ali. Hello from UK. Great discussion. Thank you, Muhammad Ali, for joining us. I think it's the first time we're having you on our show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, welcome, Mohammed. It's nice to have you with us. All right, guys. So, tell us about your podcasts.
I'll start. I'm Matilda, Coffee with Matilda, A Journey to Self. You can find my podcast on all the podcast platforms, YouTube and Facebook. Over to you, Kavla.
Yeah, so my podcast is Women in Stars Podcast. You can find it in all podcast platforms, and tune in for a new relaunch to a new podcast soon. Over to you, Simon.
Thank you, Howler. Taxi Chronicles and Africa Investor Stories, we publish every day on Taxi Chronicles, and we publish 3 times a week or 4 times a week, including a full interview on Africa Investor Stories, and we're on all major platforms. Over to you, Victor.
Yeah, Diaspora Entrepreneurs Podcast. We are on all major platforms, including YouTube. And yeah, check us out. Over to you, Carla.
And mine's the Wonder and Wellbeing Podcast, which is a podcast about wellbeing and education, which will finally be back online this week on all major podcast platforms. So, yeah, check out our podcast. And actually, if you're joining us today for the first time, Mohammed, it's nice to have you with us. You're going to have to follow us on social media. You're going to have to go and watch all our episodes. You're going to have to like, share, and subscribe because it's the last episode in this season. But there's loads of content that we have. You can also find Podcasters Unleashed on all major platforms and on YouTube. So go back, watch out your favorite episodes, like, share, subscribe, send us comments, let us know what you'd like us to talk about in the new season. We'll be back again in August. So keep an eye on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram. Where else are we, social media people? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Spotify. We're on Spotify, and with Spotify now, you're allowed to upload videos, so you will not just have to listen to us all audible. You can also watch our lovely faces, mainly talking about the ladies, of course. Back to you, Carla.
Yeah, so go and watch all our previous episodes. Let us know which one you like. Let us know which topics you're interested in, so that when we come back for a brand new season, you can influence what we talk about then. Definitely drop us some emails or some comments somewhere and let us know what topics you'd like us to talk about. We do like to shape our episodes around your ideas and the topics that you love, so let us know. And look out for our updates on social media for when we will be back with a new season. And yeah, stay in touch with us. And see you soon.
Bye.